Today, restaurants say that they're still struggling, more indicators of the recovery, and ghost kitchens for groceries. All of that plus the retail challenge right now on everything we know about retail. Hello, my name
Hello.
is Ebere Anokute, coming to you live from New York. Obviously, I'm not James Cook, and neither is Keisha. James is not in this week, but thankfully, I'm joined by our fabulous retail researcher, Keisha Virtue. How are you, Keisha?
I'm good. Happy to be on again.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you. I see you're wearing your Jeopardy hat.
I
I
am.
know that for those who might not have known, Keisha was on Jeopardy 2 weeks ago today, I believe, right?
I believe so. Time really flies when you're having fun, so I guess it's been 2 weeks.
Absolutely. How was it? Can you tell us a little bit about that experience? How was it being on Jeopardy? How was, watching yourself on the show afterwards? Like,
You know, it was a culmination of a real dream. I mean, I've been watching Jeopardy with my dad for like 30 years, and
mhm.
so just grew up watching it, dreamed of going on, and then I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can actually do this.
That's
So
awesome.
I did the online test every year, and finally got a call. I went through the whole really long, really involved process
Mhm.
of all these different steps and Zoom interviews and Zoom tests, and to get on. But finally recorded in August, and it was really quite an experience. I'm very, very Hollywood, but
Sure, yeah.
it was interesting because it was just a bunch, maybe about 10 or 11 contestants all together for the entire day, taping about 5 episodes. But your actual game goes really, really quickly.
Really?
So yeah, it just flew by. I mean, it's just so much to take in all at once. So it was
Yeah.
exciting. It was great. It was something that I can just, I guess, tell my kid about, and my grandkids, I guess, eventually. So
Absolutely. That's definitely, and I'm sure Jeopardy will still be on the air when your grandkids are old
I
enough to
sure hope so.
understand.
It's an
Yeah.
institution, and the funny thing is, when my show aired, I was literally moving to Florida.
Uh-huh.
In the car. So I'm getting all these texts come up, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm not even sure.
Wow.
But yeah, I got to watch it maybe like a day after. So
Yeah,
that was
definitely.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom DVR'd it because I told her my coworker was going
Oh,
to be on it. So I have it in perpetuity. If ever you need, me to send you the
and perfect.
recording,
Yeah, I think
I
I
got
may
it
need
for
it.
you.
I need that. Thanks, you very.
Absolutely. So you said you're in South Florida now, right? Just to confirm.
Yes.
Okay,
So
awesome.
happy to be back in South Florida.
That's lovely. Well, listen, this is everything we know about retail, where we tell you guys everything that we know about retail, but we do it three things at a time. So why don't we just get started with the first thing that we know about retail? So it appears that there's still kind of a long way to go for restaurant recovery. I don't know about you, Keisha. I've definitely been, going back to restaurants here in the city. I won't say maybe every week, but every other week or so, I find myself dining at a restaurant, and it, feels pretty safe. I would say they definitely require the vaccination cards now in New York, so you can't go into or sit indoors unless you have a vaccination card, and it's getting cold outside. It's maybe like 60 degrees right now, so I definitely don't want to be outside. So I've been doing my part to patronize restaurants. I don't know about you. Have you gone to any restaurants?
Oh my gosh, I think in the 2 weeks that I've been in Florida, South Florida, I have literally single-handedly with my family really boosted the restaurant industry, because
Doing your
coming
part.
from a really small town where there's really only just fast food drive-throughs, I
Mhm.
mean, not eating something other than fried food has been wonderful. So it's been poke, it's been, CPK, it's been,
Yeah,
you know, Grand Lux, all of it. So
that's
yes,
awesome. Yeah,
definitely doing a lot of, boosting the local economy.
good. You have to do your part. Absolutely. We work in
Yeah,
retail, so we got
yeah,
to go support those retail establishments,
I
right?
take it very seriously.
Yeah, and I wish other people, around the country did too, because according to a new survey that was conducted by the National Restaurant Association earlier this month in September, they found that more than half of restaurant operators think that business conditions are worse now than they were 3 months ago. Right. So they surveyed over 4,000 restaurant operators throughout the country. And of those operators, only 9% said that the conditions have improved over the last 3 months. So that's obviously not great news, right?
No.
When I think about 3 months ago, I know that COVID cases were still, pretty high as a result of the Delta variant, but we were in the middle of the summer, right? So I think, I don't know if it was our collective desire to get back outside, to leave the house, or if it was the nice weather that allowed us to sit outdoors and do outdoor dining. But I felt like, at least anecdotally, in the city, it looked like activity was really picking up around the restaurants. And so now, maybe with the weather getting a little bit colder, I can see how perhaps
Yeah.
things are a little bit more difficult than they were. Although that's not really an issue in Florida.
It definitely is not an issue. And I mean, anecdotally speaking, we're not seeing any kind of slowdown here with
Really?
restaurants. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So, I mean, they said that 45% of survey respondents said their locations were still not open at full capacity for indoor dining. I wonder which parts of the country that are, because I'm pretty sure New York now is open for full capacity. I'm pretty sure Florida, were doing what they wanted to do the whole time. So I don't know if they ever shut down indoors like that, but it's I think that's definitely hurting a lot of these restaurant operators, because they're not able to hit the margins that they want to hit if they don't fill up their restaurant with patrons. So
Yeah.
very much a cause for concern. And a separate poll that was conducted by the Morning Consult found that 64% of US adults feel comfortable dining at a restaurant, and that's down from 71%, which was the high this year around the 4th of July. So again, in the summertime, everybody seems to have felt good going out to eat and stuff. And it appears that, now, as of the first week of September, when this poll was conducted, that's starting to slow a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to note that some of the economic challenges that have been facing the country over the course of the past month or so are hitting restaurants especially hard, right? So, one of the ones, for example, that we've talked about a lot on this show is labor shortages.
Yeah.
Um, in this survey, more than 75% of operators said that their restaurants are short on staff, right? Which is an issue that every retailer is facing. And I can only imagine how that's going to impact the industry once holiday season comes up, because they're going to need a lot of workers to, supply or to fulfill all the demand for, services and goods that's going to come around the holidays. So there are labor shortages that seem to be persisting are definitely a cause for concern. I don't know, Keisha, have you noticed at any of the, restaurants or anywhere you've been, in Florida, that there have been longer wait times? Have you had to wait longer to get your cup of coffee, or, as a result of there being fewer people working behind the counter or something like that?
It really hasn't been an issue so far for the
Mm,
past couple of weeks that I've been here. I think it's what I'm seeing more of right now, which I think is also a trend, is the inventory shortage, and not
mm,
specifically at restaurants, but just in general.
yeah.
So I think we're going to see some of those, I guess, shortages for both labor and inventory hit pretty hard in the fall and winter. So
Yeah.
that's
And
something to
to think
pay
about
attention
for
to. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and unfortunately, also there seems to be some shortages with food supply. So there's some, again, that one of those themes, or sorry, economic challenges that we've been seeing throughout the country is supply chain issues, right? As
Yes.
a result of
Yeah.
the Delta variant ravaging other parts of the world and even
Hmm.
parts of our country. According to this survey, only 5% of respondents said that they had not experienced any supply delays or shortage of key drinks and food over the
Yeah.
last 3 months. So definitely, a lot that's going into it, and as a result, we're seeing some of these operators have to adjust their business plans in a certain way. So, for example, Jack in the Box is which I've only really heard of. I think they make tacos. I think it's a West Coast thing, right? Have you heard of Jack in the
I've
Box?
heard of it. I'm trying to remember. I thought it was burgers, but I have no idea really. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe it's some sort of fast food.
It's one or the other. It's either burgers or tacos, and we're the retail experts, so one of us is right, and that's
Yeah.
all that matters. But they have planned to raise their prices as a result of these, supply chain issues. And Bloomin' Brands, who owns is the parent company for Outback
Mhm.
Steakhouse and their other subsidiaries, has been cutting back on promotions for their staff. So definitely some real impacts to some of the things that we've been hearing in the news and stuff like that. So we'll have to just wait and see how that plays out. But in the meantime, I think you and I are doing our part by patronizing these restaurants.
I think
So
so.
yeah, it's not on us. But
Mhm.
Keisha, tell me, what do you know about retail?
Well, Ebere, here's the second thing we know about retail. Retail real estate is recovering. I mean, despite what we're hearing about the shortages for labor and inventory and
Mhm.
the Delta variant, which are definite concerns, we're definitely still seeing a recovery.
Awesome.
So far this year, closures are down and openings are up, which is fantastic news.
We
In
love to hear
fact,
that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, year to date, net absorption is over 24 million square feet. And let's compare that to last year, the same period of time where it was negative 13 million. So we're seeing quite an improvement, which is very, very good news for retail.
Absolutely.
Um, in fact, CoStar estimates that we'll see about roughly 87 million square feet in closures for all of 2021, and that sounds like a whole lot of closures, right? But
Mm,
compared to last year, it's just about half of what last year was, and it's the lowest impacted space for closures since 2016. So 2021 definitely is a better year as far as people really pushing and opening up. Um, for leases, we're seeing over 41,000 leases signed this year,
wow.
and that's accounting for more than 121 million square feet. So,
Amazing.
yeah, of course, a lot of that is coming from discounters, not a surprise.
Okay.
Dollar stores, particularly Dollar General and then Dollar Tree combined, are opening what, over 1,650 stores in the
Wow.
next year. So, and of course, off-price retailers as well. Um, what other kinds of retailers too? You know, groceries like Aldi, again, more on the discount side, but they are
Sure.
opening stores. Athleisure, you know, with people, hey, you know, still having to work from home. Athleisure
Yeah.
is doing pretty well. You know, both, well, all of them, Lululemon, Athlete of Athletics, the big ones,
Oh
they're
yeah.
all opening stores. So that's definite good news.
That's amazing. I'm
Um,
wearing joggers right now, so I'm definitely again one of the people that's keeping those companies in business. So
yes, I'm semi-business on top, and I'm all casual. Yeah,
it's my life, Keisha.
yeah, yeah.
Polo's
Mhm.
buttoned, but below the listen, it's very casual below.
Yeah,
So
mhm,
that's what we're doing.
it's great. So I would say, by all accounts, we're looking at a very good holiday season. Projected consumer spending is, according to Oxford, going to be around 8.8% for the year, which is the strongest since World War II, according to them,
Wow.
which is just, I mean, just a stunning stat.
Yeah.
Obviously, we still have to look to see what these shortages are going to do, because we do know that inflation is an issue. It's like at about 5.4% right now,
Mm,
which is the highest since 2008. So,
wow.
yeah, if these shortages continue, I think we're going to see higher prices heading into holidays. It'll be interesting to see what we do as far as the deal days. So we are going to be taking a close look at that. But
Yeah.
um, just based on what we're seeing preliminary for holiday survey results, it's looking like it's going to be a very good holiday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless, people want to celebrate at least some
Yeah.
improvement over last year, so that's good news for
Definitely.
us.
Keisha, do you think that the ability to gather in person this year, whereas last year I think we were all kind of advised to not do too many big holiday gatherings, do you think that's going to have an impact on why it'll be a good holiday season from a spending perspective?
I do think it will help, particularly for people who feel comfortable. They've been vaccinated. They can come,
Mhm.
get together and gather. I think it will be a huge difference, and I think it will help raise grocery sales.
Yeah.
Decor, all of the wonderful things that holiday brings. So yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know for myself, my family, we only just my immediate family got together last year. And I think
Mm,
this year we're going to be hoping to extend it to more of my extended family
yeah.
and try to celebrate again because I mean, yeah, I can't imagine the holidays without your family, right? I mean, we did
No,
experience it last year, but that's what makes it the holidays. So
exactly.
yeah, that's really good news to hear that we're recovering somewhat in the retail sector. And yeah, I mean, what'd you say, like 41,000 leases year to date? Like
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good.
it does sound
Absolutely.
really good. It
Yeah.
does.
Awesome.
So,
Well,
Ebere, what else do you know about retail?
well, Keisha, here is the third thing that we know about retail. Okay, the video wasn't playing, so I said it a little tentatively. But yeah, so we were just talking, a little bit about grocery and stuff like that, and we know that over the course of the past year, grocery has seen really or sorry, 18 months, I should say, grocery has seen massive gains throughout the pandemic, and a lot of those grocery companies have been reinvesting the money that they've made but in a bunch of different aspects of their business, right? So some of them are upgrading their stores. I know for myself, one of the grocery stores that was around my apartment, physically watched in the course of the last year them revamp the entire store, right? It was like a pretty small grocery store in Harlem, so they didn't have it wasn't like a Whole Foods, right? But I saw them, over the course of maybe a month, get like 10 new freezers, right? A whole
Wow.
new like produce section. Like it was a completely different store between like April and June, right? It really changed rapidly. So I've seen some of that stuff firsthand, but they're upgrading their stores, expanding it and opening in new stores and improving some of their offerings. And one of those offerings obviously is delivery, right? So
Yes.
delivery has been a big part of the grocery boom over the course of the past, like I said, 18 months. I know James last week was talking about when he went to the grocery shop conference that all the talk now is about delivery, how to ramp up delivery, how to make it even more convenient. Keisha, are you someone who orders your groceries and gets them delivered, or do you prefer to go to the store and pick your things out there?
Ever since COVID, really, I've relied very heavily on delivery.
Oh yeah.
And luckily, I've had the option both in Moultrie when I was in Georgia and here.
Mhm.
We had really great delivery services for Publix. So, yeah.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
awesome. That's awesome. So, like, what happens if you order something, or what if you like, do you know everything that you want to order when you're like filling it out online? Like what happens if you remember something last minute? Do you have to like add it, do you know, make another order, or do you just rush out and go to the store and grab it yourself?
You know, if your shopping person is still shopping, you can normally add it while they're in the store doing it for
Oh,
you. So Instacart does allow you to do that,
wow.
which has been very convenient. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
They've thought of everything. Wow, I was
yeah.
trying to think of,
Mhm.
of a way that grocery wasn't the thing, but they seem to have the thought of it everywhere. I personally, I still just go to the grocery store. I think I was talking about it with James a couple weeks ago. Like, I can't think far enough ahead to order everything online, and also like sometimes when you're ordering online, like I've tried like the Amazon delivery through Whole Foods, and there's just so many tabs, so many like sections of the website that
Oh,
I just get fatigued. Whereas, like, if I go to the grocery store, I know where the things I want to get are
mhm.
located, so I can just go right to them. But having to click through, like, oh, if I want to get like, I don't know, shrimp, I have to go into like frozen and then frozen meat
Oh,
and then
no.
frozen meat and seafood. And then,
No.
so me
No.
personally, I prefer to just go to the store. But a lot of people are, ordering online, and we're
Yeah,
seeing as a result that there's something now, there's dark stores that are opening up for grocery delivery. So we've been talking for years about ghost kitchens when it comes to restaurants, right? And the ability to order on an app from, a restaurant and like Grubhub or Seamless that isn't actually a restaurant, just a ghost kitchen where they make the food and deliver it right to
exactly.
you. And now we're seeing that for grocery too. So there is a company called Gorillas, which is a Berlin based grocery delivery startup. And they promise to deliver orders to their customers in certain NYC neighborhoods. They made it a point to emphasize certain, right? So if you
Yeah.
live all the way out in Queens, we're not talking to you, right? Certain NYC neighborhoods in 10 minutes or less, right? Which is a very aggressive promise, right? I feel like 10 minutes or less, if they can do that, like, or I wonder what the
Yeah.
what they the result is if they don't get it in 10 minutes or less. Like, is it free at that point?
I know.
Because
Is it like pizza delivery?
exactly, right? Like, that's, I wonder how sustainable that business model would be.
Mm,
But the way they're able to do this is by leasing space across the city and using those places as delivery hubs. So literally a dark store for grocery where they just pick everything out and get it on a delivery on a bike or some other fast mode of
yeah.
transportation. To different parts of the city. And usually they stock around 2,000 items, whereas the typical grocery store in the city might have anywhere from 10,000 items or more.
Yeah.
And that helps them to keep their footprint smaller and their costs lower so they can remain in business. So the newest store for Gorillas is going to be opening at 426 East 14th Street in the East Village. They're going to be occupying around 7,000 square feet. 4,000 on grade and 2,000 belower, and they signed for a 10-year deal.
Wow.
Yeah, so that they seem
They're
to,
very confident. Yeah.
very confident, betting big on grocery delivery because it definitely is, the way of the future, it appears.
Hmm.
I guess I wonder, I think it's a really interesting sort of expansion in that regard. I mean, I wonder, from a cost perspective, why it's necessarily cheaper for them to have the physical space and deliver it as opposed to just letting people come in and
Yeah.
offering delivery. I wonder, how much their costs are kept down by just doing delivery.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I also, it made me think like, what will be the next thing to move into dark stores, right? We have our ghost kitchens, and now we
Hmm.
have our ghost grocery stores. So like, what's going to be the next thing? Like, I don't know. I was thinking like, what is like urgent care? You know, like we already get everything else delivered. Like, what will be the next thing that's going to go dark?
That's an
And
interesting concept. Yeah.
yeah, will it be like, I sign up for an appointment at an urgent care and then they send me in 10 minutes or less, a thermometer to take my own vitals and things like that, or like something to check
Yeah,
your
or
blood
a kit.
pressure,
Yeah, a testing kit or something.
something like that. And then
Mhm.
maybe the person waits outside and you give it back to them, they go back in. I
Mhm.
don't know. It's just I understand delivering groceries. I just don't understand like not letting people into the store to buy them. If I'm walking past and I'm like, oh, I need something here, I wonder, what else we're going to move into dark stores. So very innovative concept, I think. And it probably isn't the last of these we're going to see. I wouldn't be
No.
surprised if some of the larger grocers started to show, have these dark stores as well, or maybe they're already doing it and they just don't publicize it. Right,
You know,
maybe.
I think so, or maybe they convert part of their store into that model because from what I
Mm,
understand, it's harder for, say, Instacart shoppers who are, picking up groceries for others to navigate the store while there are, lots of other just regular shoppers
true.
milling around. The layout has to be different, longer aisles, bigger freezers, and all that sort of thing. So I think
Absolutely.
the efficiency of it in a typical grocery store is much less than if you're just really just designing that store for quick packing. So
Yeah.
it could just be a combination of stores having either that option for delivery and then having the regular, pretty fancy, you know, easygoing store
Yeah.
for, people who like to stroll through and get their groceries. I know when I go to say Fresh Market or Whole Foods, I take my time. I don't want to
Mm,
grab and go, but that's more for you buying your high end, things that you just
exactly.
pick up here and there. But if you're just picking up stuff to kind of refuel, then
Mm,
yeah, you want it to be quick. So I
yeah.
think that's where delivery really comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't even think about, I've definitely seen those shoppers in the store shopping for other people. I didn't even think about how somebody like me is in their way. So yeah, maybe they are able
Yeah,
to be more efficient if there's no customers in the store. So yeah, maybe
exactly.
that's what it is. Yeah, I can definitely see this becoming, a staple of grocery going forward is these sorts of dark grocery stores. So well, I mean, we're talking a lot about grocery, but Keisha, do you know what time it is?
What time is it, Ebere?
Let me see if I can find the thing. It is time for the retail challenge. um, so let's see. This week's retail challenge, Keisha, I know that obviously we're so lucky to have you on the show, and I know that you just relocated back to South Florida. And
Yes.
so when I was scrambling to see what I would make the retail challenge about, I said, what retail can I think of that's distinct to Florida to talk to Keisha about? And the only thing that came to mind was Publix, right?
You picked a good one.
Did I?
Hmm.
I've only been to Publix once when I was in Miami. I'd heard a lot of lore about Publix and
Oh
about
yeah. We've
especially like the chicken and some of the prepared foods. And so I, was definitely impressed. What's your favorite thing to get at Publix that they only have at Publix and nowhere else?
Wow, that's a really good question. I don't know. I
No.
don't think it's any specific item. I do love their Greenwise selection, but you
Mm,
go to you go to Publix for the service. It's
really?
amazing. You
Really?
just feel good shopping there. Everybody's always incredibly nice, incredibly helpful. It's clean. There's a good
Okay.
selection. We Floridians are very, very serious about our Publix. I mean, for
I
sure.
know you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's not, I mean, you're making it sound like it's like the Chick-fil-A of grocery stores, right? As far as the
It could be
service
as far
and
as emotional attachment. I think it's
mhm.
very, very similar. Yes.
Wow. See, there's no I'm from New York, right? There's no Publix up here. So I've only seen it when I got to the South and trying to catch up on the fervor, but I definitely see where it's coming from. But so since you're such a Publix fan, I thought we would make this Publix oriented. And so here's the first question. I mean, these are very basic Publix questions. It's nothing too
Because I'm
crazy,
like,
but I'm about to stump you, right? So tell me, Keisha, do you know what year did the first Publix store open?
oh my gosh.
Was it A, 1930, B, 1881, or C, 1955?
I'm gonna say C, 1955.
Hmm. Well, sorry, Keisha.
Oh,
It was actually A,
it's 1930.
1930.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
1930. I was gonna make it like 1930, 1776, and 1999, but I was like, those are so
Yeah, yeah,
obvious.
it was obvious.
Yeah, it would have been too obvious. So, okay. So, again, Keisha, this is the retail challenge where, The points don't necessarily matter, but you still can be a winner and get an imaginary retail challenge winner mug. So
Yeah,
I'll,
really
I'll
want
say
that
if you
mug.
get 2 out of 3, you can declare yourself a winner. Okay.
Great, sounds good.
All right. So here's question 2. Where was the first Publix opened? Was it in A, Fort Lauderdale, B, Winter Haven, or C, Tallahassee?
Winter Haven.
You got it, Keisha. Let's go. Let's
Okay, I'm doing
go.
Publix Pro finally.
Absolutely. I try again. I was like, should I do Fort Lauderdale? I was gonna do Miami, Winter Haven, and Atlanta, and then I was like, that
Mm.
it's 2 big cities, and then one particular little like would have been too obvious. So, but you got it. So, congratulations. So, here is the last question. Okay, what that when I was reading about Publix a couple minutes ago before the show started, I read that the name of because it is a pretty unique name that I haven't really heard before, right? Publix, and
Mhm.
I read that it was actually inspired by another retail establishment. More or less, it sounds like the owner of Publix saw the name somewhere else and just decided that he wanted to make it
Mm.
the name of his company too. I'm just not sure what sort of copyright or situation happened there, but I'm not a lawyer, so we won't go into that. But I'm curious if you can tell me which or what other establishment inspired the name Publix. Was it A, a restaurant, B, a movie theater, or C, a library?
Wow. Oh my gosh.
We'll do some Jeopardy noise.
Yeah, can you?
Bring you back.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna say movie theater just because a lot of them end in X, so I'm thinking maybe
Really?
there's some sort of parallel there.
Keisha, you are a champion, okay, in Jeopardy and in the retail challenge because it is a movie theater. I tried to throw you off with the library, right? Public library. I was
Yeah,
like, you
exactly.
don't
That
win
was tricky. That was tricky, Ebere. I was like, oh, okay. You're bringing the A game to this.
Well, listen, you got it. You are the winner of the retail challenge this week. I'm going to clap for you because we don't have an
Yeah.
audio all these weeks later. We still don't have the audio to show this, but you are the winner. So thank you so much. I'm not sure if people were playing along with us. James is a lot better at pulling that up. I don't know where to find that. So if you're playing along with us on LinkedIn and you got the questions right, congratulations. Shout out to you. You're also a winner. But listen, that brings us to the end of another episode. Keisha, I just want to remind everyone very quickly that you can listen to the Where We Buy podcast, where James conducts in depth audio interviews, and you can listen to them anywhere podcasts are played. So on Spotify, the podcast app, or you can find them at wherewebuy.show. I would also like to remind everyone to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and click on the little bell icon so that you're notified when new shows come out every week. You can also follow JLO Retail on LinkedIn, and you can find new episodes of this beautiful show that Keisha and I are on right now every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern at everythingweknow.show. So Keisha, thank you so much for
It's
joining
been
us
fun
today.
as always, Ebere.
Absolutely. You are a champion, a trivia champion. I tried to stop you. I could not, but I did the best that I could. And this is typically where James would ask me, Ebere, what else do you know about retail? And then I would say, I'll tell you more next week.
Next
But
week.
we didn't rehearse that, so we'll just call it a wrap.
Sounds
So
good.
thank you, Keisha.
Thanks, Ebere.
All right.
All right.